Okay, I just hit the remotes. All three of them are on right now. We're all synced up together. I'm just going to put those in my pocket for the time being, but basically this is like the interview camera right now. Now kind of blur out the white because this is one of those mesh blinds, and right on the outside of this is my machine shed, and it's silver painted metal. So right now what you're seeing behind me is not what you'd see for real, but just bear with me here. So this camera has the 28 millimeter lens on it. It's the RP. We're shooting at 1080p. Got the shutter speed at 1/50, 1/50th of a second, whatever you want to call it. The f-stop is all the way down at f2.8. That's the nice thing about these prime lenses, is they have low apertures. Low apertures is what you want with low light. If you do not have a low aperture, you're not going to get the footage close to dark. You're just not. The lens can't take in enough light to have decent footage. What happens when you crank in the ISO all the way up as high as it'll go, you get that grainy footage look, and that's not the view that we want to go after. We want to go after the more cinematic look where, you know, maybe I'm up here close to the camera like this doing a little interview, kind of like Buck Commander does, or Josh Bomar, whatever, you know, any Chris B, MFJJ, Elk Shape, all those guys, you know, they have cameramen and stuff. We do not. So this is me 100% by myself. The other views that we're going to be running out of here are the one that goes out towards the animal, which is the camera right in front of this one. This one's all the way in the back of the blind, so vision, my shot's going to be out this way. That's going to be the direction I'm shooting, is that way. So this one is just to get me in frame, and that's it. That's the pure focus of this lens, and that's it. The lens right in front of it, however, is the 100 to 400 lens, and what it's going to be good for is going out and zooming in on the turkey or the deer or whatever we got going on. So we've got my targets out here that we're going to be aiming at, and right now what you're looking at is the 20-yard target. And here in just a second, we're going to try to focus in on that turkey target, 3D target that I purchased. We're going to focus in on it, and we're going to zoom in as far as we can go. Now that is all the way out to 400 millimeters right now. And that decoy, or not decoy, but that target is 50 yards away. So to put that into perspective, I can probably crop in on this video that we're getting right now of this turkey target, and crop in, you know, maybe a little bit more to make it look more a little bit cinematic, make it look, you know, like the animal's closer than it actually is. But at 400 millimeters, this is how close you can get. Now, it doesn't look real close, which is why I think I'm going to retract what I said in my last video about the 100 to 500 millimeter lens that I really want. I think we're going to bump up and go to the 200 to 800 lens, and then the other lens that I want to get is the 70 to 200 lens. Those are the two high dollar lenses that I want to get now. The 70 to 200 has low aperture. That's why it's expensive. It's like $2,000 for it, and that's used. Brand new, you're going to talk closer to $3,000. But that lens is very good at low light, and 70 to 200 millimeters, you know, that's going to be, you're hoping, you know, it's the last ditch effort at dark before the night's over with. You got the f2.8 aperture, so you're going to get great low light footage all the way up to the last few minutes till dark. And then it'll be good out to probably about 20, 30 yards, and then you can probably crop in if you need to, if the animal's hung up at 40 or 50, would be my guess. And then don't pay any attention to the target that fell down. We've had some major winds here in Missouri, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts. I'm surprised the house that I'm constructing right now is still standing, honestly. But anyways, that's those two angles, and these two cameras are right by each other. Like, this one's right here, the other one's right in front of it, not it's within 6 inches. They actually can touch each other if I want them to. Then our last angle, which has the other mic on it, is all the way in the front of the blind. It is all the way in front for one reason. For when I draw the bow back, I can get out there and you guys can see in the footage, pull my bow back, do all that stuff. It's the wide angle lens, so it's 16 millimeters. It's just to make sure you get the footage that you need to get. And I'm actually, in this blind, I'm actually set up a little high right now. I actually should be lower because I could not shoot out of this blind past 5 yards. Otherwise, I'd just hit the ground or I'd hit the blind, one of the two, because I've got the openings open. But anyways, those are the 3 different angles that I'm going to be running. You're actually, when I do the interview, that has my wireless mic on. I've got it on underneath my shirt, so that's what you're hearing me out of right now. But I've got the mic set up on the other 2 cameras. So my long range lens with the 4K footage has a microphone, so that way it can project and get like the deer rustling in the leaves, or squirrel, most likely, squirrel. And then this one in the front here, the 16 millimeters, just to get me in the shot and also to get the sound of the bow, the arrow in flight, whatever, sound needs to come from it. That's the reason I got it set up this way in the blind. Other than that, in this footage with the 16 mil, you can already see, or should be able to see, my 2 tripods. So both of my tripods are over here holding each camera, and I do that for 2 purposes. So I can get a little bit more leg room, get the camera a little bit farther away. So that's why I'm running a bigger millimeter lens on this camera, so that way it can be farther away from me a little bit and still get me in the shot. And then we've got the wide angle lens in the front, so that way we make sure we get everything caught on camera. And then I've obviously got my remotes right here, so I can turn on and off everything when I need to and not record the whole time. I will say the one thing that I do not like about the RPs versus the R8 is the fact that it has a 30-minute timer. So if you run the camera for 30 minutes and it's not recording, you just got it sitting there waiting to hit the button for some action to come by, it will shut off, which is kind of a bummer, because the R8 you can leave on and it will stay on till you turn it off physically. That's an option you can change in the settings, which I do like that, so you don't miss anything. But other than that, what I'll probably just have to do is hit the button, every 30 minutes, hit record, turn it off. I'd rather do that than not get the footage at all. So anyways, this would be the whole setup inside the blind. You got your interview-ish type right here. Looks like you're close, but you're really, you're probably about an arm length away right now. So about 3 foot away from me anyway. And then you've got the one where it looks like you're really far away, but you're just past my arm another foot with the 16 millimeter. That's the difference in focal lengths, as far as distances away from things. And I've got a 35 where I could probably look even closer in this video right here if I wanted to. And then this one, I could put the 28 on it, but I realized, hey, that's too close of a focal length for this camera, or for that distance. I don't like it. I want to put the wide angle up here up front. That's what I want. So wide angle up front, 28 millimeter here, long reach one right here in front of it, so I can make sure that I get whatever I need to get and be done with it. But anyways, that's the setup inside the blind. I have not showed you guys what I'm going to be running when at the turkey itself. And that will be the next step. That's where the action cameras come in and those little tripods. And I'm pretty sure you guys already know what I'm going to do. So the purpose of those is to, the reason why I'm going to run that external battery pack on those is because I'm just going to hit record and let it go. Because it's going to be sitting out there by the decoys. I looked up a remote for DJI. You have to buy a remote per camera. It doesn't operate 2 cameras fully the way that you would want it to. So I'm not going to purchase any remotes for those. I went for $30 power delivery power bank, and I'm just going to hit record, and whatever footage I get, whatever footage I get, and hope for the best. You know, that's pretty much all I can do. Is I'm just, you know, and then I'll have to come back and recharge those power banks and be done with it. So that's what I'm going to do on the actual turkey itself, or the decoys. You know, I'm going to set out decoys and try to kill them with a bow this year. That's my goal. But what I'll most likely do, since I'm hunting on my farm, turkey hunting on my farm, I'm most likely going to leave the tripods and stuff in the blind, so it's less crap I got to carry in. Excuse my language, I almost cussed. But anyways, that's kind of what I plan on doing. Is I'm not going to leave my whole bag down there. I'm just going to leave the tripods in the monopod. That way all I got to do is go down there with my cameras. I can take my camera arms out of my pack. I just need to worry about getting my cameras down there and the batteries, and then I'm also probably going to leave the decoys in the blind too, because there ain't no sense in bringing all that stuff back and forth, because it's the only place I plan on hunting this year is on my farm. The last time I went and actually hunted on the farm, turkey hunting, was with my dad, and it would be really cool to get a turkey kind of in honor of him. He wasn't much of a hunter. He actually had someone come out here when I was a kid. I was like 12 years old. He had someone put me on a turkey, and he put me on a turkey, and unfortunately I missed. You know, I had a 20 gauge over and under that my dad bought me as the first gun I ever owned, first gun I was ever allowed to own. But since my dad passed, I think that'd be a pretty cool thing to kind of honor him with a turkey, because that's the only type of hunting he ever went with me with. He's not the person that taught me how to hunt. My stepdad did, and I got started duck hunting. So I guess you guys probably know why I'm going all out on all this camera gear now. Is, you know, I go out on all the decoys too. I've got 500 goose decoys in the shed right behind me here. Like goose decoys, Canada goose decoys, like 500 of them. So if that tells you anything about kind of my background, but why I got into hunting. But it would be really cool to get a turkey out here for my dad. But anyways, I think that's pretty much going to be it for today. I am going to continue this video, and we're going to do the tree stand next. We're going to do the tree stand and the saddle. Those are the next two things to do. And so follow along and stay tuned.